Hey listeners, Hit the Books podcast is available everywhere you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, and more. Be sure to tune in each week and like, rate, and subscribe. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Season 2, Episode 28 of Hit the Books, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of sports and sports gambling. Each episode, we break down the latest news and trends, providing expert analysis and commentary, and offer up our best bets and betting advice. Whether you're a seasoned sports bettor or just getting started, our goal is to provide you with the insights and knowledge you need to make informed decisions and come out ahead. So sit back, relax, and let's hit the books. This week, we wrap up what we saw in the NHL Trade Deadline. More news in the NFL and NBA, and March Madness Selection Sunday is this weekend. And we're very excited for March Madness to start next week, as well as a little golf action with the players this weekend. Lots to look forward to, so let's jump into episode 28 of this season by introducing my co-hosts Huff, Ace, and Mackie. Thanks for joining me here for another week, boys. Mackie, let's start off with you. Back at home, spring break, right? What do you got going on? What's happening?
Yeah, it's nice to be back home for a little while during spring break, but yeah, just getting into March Madness, getting into the conference tournaments. I know the last 2 days we've been killing it. We're 4-0-1 since conference tournaments have started. So the playoffs in college basketball are no joke, and we definitely we hold high accountability for these tournaments. So just getting started. March Madness coming up, getting excited for that. Other than that, not much going on. What's going on with you?
All right, good stuff, Mackie. Let's shoot over to Ace. Ace, what do you got going on this week? Yet another week here on the show.
Yeah, like Mackie said, that college basketball has been heating up. Kudos to him and Huff, just in time for March Madness. I know we're all fiending those picks to come out once the tournament gets going. But two other sports that I've been keeping my eye on, I know that we've slacked a bit on the NHL card and the NBA card, but we'll get those back to double digits consistently and get some more green going. Excited to talk about some off-season moves and the playoff race heating up in a lot of these leagues. So ready to go with the boys.
Yes, good stuff. Yeah, NHL card has got to pick it up, but we're looking into it. We got the answers. Huff, let's finish it off with you for these intros. What do you got, buddy? Nice to hear from you.
Yeah, not much going on with me. Just been watching a lot of college basketball these past 2 days, like Mackie said, as we get the conference tournaments underway. Other than that, we've had a successful day on the card so far, cashing Davidson and Wake Forest and Colorado. So 3-0 day so far on the college basketball card on pushed Wake. Yeah, I forgot about that fucking -3. But anyway, the 2-0-1, whatever you want to look at it, but great way to start the day. Got a couple plays pending the rest of the night, but it's time for college basketball. March is finally here. Feeling good. I'm excited for some good basketball throughout the month.
Alrighty, and as we all know, it is finally March Selection Sunday here this Sunday, March 12th. Real excited to jump into that. Why don't we talk about a little college basketball here this week? Mackie, Huff, what do you guys think is going to happen here coming into March Madness?
Yeah, definitely getting exciting as things are heating up. I know mine and Huff's picks. Baylor looks really good. That was Huff's pick. He got him at plus 2,000. They've been playing some really good basketball. I got Arizona. I think it was plus 1,800. I kind of forget what it was, but they dropped a few before the conference tournament. They haven't been looking the best, but I still really have a lot of confidence in them. I think they're one of the best teams up and down with their top five. They don't really have a soft spot. Them, Alabama, Houston, maybe those are the only three teams that don't really have a soft spot. But I'm still pretty confident in Arizona. How do you feel about Baylor, Huff?
I think Baylor has a good shot, and I don't know the exact Big 12 conference bracket. Just to looking at the odds right now for some of the Big 12 conference tournament winners. Obviously, Big 12 is a powerhouse in college basketball, at least this year. We've seen teams like Kansas, Texas, Baylor. Even TCU has upset a couple of teams throughout the season.
Kansas State's been in the top 10 for a minute.
I was going to say Kansas State, Iowa State sitting right there. So I'll go through a couple of these. I think there's some value on a couple of these teams here in the Big 12 Conference Tournament. Kansas is the favorite, obviously, at plus 225 to win the Big 12. Texas at plus 300. Baylor at plus 450, still getting some disrespect. Obviously, Kansas has picked it up over the past couple of weeks. That big win against Texas, there was many points, or that loss against Texas, there was many points I thought that Kansas team was going to come back into that game, and Texas held their own defensively on their home floor and got the job done. Texas is definitely no slouch in the Big 12, but I feel good about Baylor. I think they could make a serious tournament run here. They still got Scott Drew coaching the team, and I really like that Baylor squad. But like you said, to your point about Arizona, yeah, they dropped a buzzer beater at Arizona State, lost to UCLA. We had them plus 5.5 in that game, and they lost to UCLA. But tough. It's been tough for Arizona, but the cream rises to the top in March, and the better teams usually come to play later in March, and I think that's a team we'll be seeing come, Sweet 16, Elite 8 time. I think we'll still be watching Baylor and Arizona play hoops.
Yeah, I agree. Going off of that Big 12 tournament, who do you think is going to come out of that for just the conference tournament? Nothing to do with March Madness.
I would probably go with one of the top two in Kansas or Texas. I think they take it. And me having a Baylor future, I don't know if you ended up taking it, but with the Baylor future, I don't know if I want them to have their sights set on the Big 12 tournament, but, I mean, obviously you never want to pick up a loss. I don't know if there's ever a good time for a loss, but obviously I'd rather them focus up next Thursday when things really come to matter. But I'd probably go with Kansas. I don't know about you. I just think they're rolling at the right time.
Yeah, since you have a Baylor's future, obviously you don't want them to end up winning the Big 12. You'd almost like to see a loss at that point. But just the way things line up, I really think Kansas gets bumped by WVU in the second round.
Really?
You can call it a biased pick. It might be, yeah. But last time they played, it was in Kansas and in Allen Fieldhouse, and
WVU gave them a game.
2 points.
Yeah, they were a 9-point underdog.
That's a team that has a lot of heart, and they need a few wins to get seeded up in this bracket. They might be in it already, but they're not solidified in any spot in this March Madness, and they have a lot of heart. And Kansas can easily drop one in the Big 12. That's a team. Obviously, you're probably going to see them in Indianapolis. I'm assuming you'll see them in the bottom four. They're definitely a top 4 team in the league, but
yeah,
they could definitely drop one in the Big 12 tournament. West Virginia is definitely a team that can steal one from them. So I'm going to go with Texas winning the Big 12 just because I like Baylor going really far too. I think Texas will get bumped a little earlier in actual March Madness. So I think they get their championship here and then just their highlight of the season.
Yeah, I definitely would stick with Kansas or Texas, especially because, like I said, I'm already on Baylor for the Natty, so I don't really love them to win the Big 12 and the Natty, so for reasons like you said. But I think Texas at plus 300, that's a nice pick. So the Big 12, obviously, it's going to be a gauntlet for whoever wins it, but it's going to be probably the best conference tournament out of them all, in my opinion. Another one that we've kind of been in and out of for conferences is the SEC in basketball. We've been taking teams like Georgia throughout the season and Kentucky a couple of times. Alabama, I know you've been all over Alabama, and you've been all over fading Alabama lately as they've kind of touched this cold streak, and it's a scary team, and I've kind of been against most of those picks when you're bringing them, but Alabama with a little bit of a cold streak to end the regular season, but them obviously coming in as the heavy favorite to win the SEC tournament at plus 150. Tennessee right behind them without Ziegler after tearing his ACL at plus 300. I don't know if I'm putting any value in Tennessee there. You got Kentucky right behind them at plus 400, A&M at plus 500, and then it gets into Arkansas 12-1 and Auburn 14-1 just to round out some of the lower seeds. But I'm going to keep it simple with the SEC. Go ahead.
Do you have a bracket that I can look at? I'd love to see this bracket right now.
The SEC bracket?
We could just talk about it, but
no, I don't. I was gonna pull one up if we wanted. I do kind of want to see where Bama has to go because I like Bama in this spot. So, I'm looking up the SEC conference bracket because I didn't know Kansas is gonna get a spot with West Virginia. That's an interesting matchup. Obviously, that's not gonna be a game I'm rooting for Kansas in. So, but I'm pulling this up right now. Let me take a look at this here. Who just based on those odds, do you have a pick or anyone that you're like that's a decent play right there?
Not really. The SEC is a little up in the air. Just one team I wanted to talk about was Tennessee. That team just had so much promise halfway through the season. I think they were ranked top 10 at one point, maybe even top 5 if I'm not mistaken. I could be off there, but they just completely fell apart. I actually made a futures bet for them in a parlay for them to win the SEC regular season. They just fell off. I think they ended up in the 5 seed or something. Not a team that I would really like to bet on come March Madness. I think that they can be an early first round bump but it's a team that had a lot of promise coming into the season and halfway through the season. It's really sad to see what they ended up working with.
Yeah. And I just sent you over the bracket and kind of looking at it. I do like Bama to get things done in the SEC. Obviously, they're going to have to go through the winner of Florida and Mississippi State. I'd probably lean on Florida there if they can get some of their guys back. But I think Bama's able to get pretty far, at least to the SEC championship, maybe against a Kentucky or a Texas A&M if Texas A&M can keep their magic going. But I'm going to go with Bama out of the SEC.
Yeah, I'm going to predict a Kentucky-Bama championship game. I think Oscar Tshiebwe kind of puts the Wildcats on his back for the first 2 rounds. But I do think Alabama gets their SEC championship as well. This is a team that's been through a lot recently, and they haven't really been playing the best basketball. But I think Brandon Miller is still a top 7 player in college basketball. So he's going to do his thing. He's going to get to his spots, and he's going to make his shots. And I really don't think the SEC is that competitive this year. I think that they'll looks like they'll have to play Mississippi State, then Missouri or Tennessee, that Tennessee team that I'm not very fond of. And you'll get Tshiebwe and the Wildcats in the championship. But I think Bama will get their SEC championship, but I don't think they're going to make much noise in the big dance.
Yeah, I agree. I do not have any other odds for any of these other tournaments because most of these games are underway, such as like Big Ten, ACC, all those ones. But yeah, that's what's kind of annoying about that. But I mean, like you said, our picks for the national championship, Baylor and Arizona, I still feel very good about both of those that we have on the card. And college basketball card's been rolling. So as we get into March, and obviously conference tournaments throughout this week and the rest of through this weekend, we get conference championships and stuff like that, and then Selection Sunday. We roll right into March Madness next Thursday. Obviously, can't forget about the last 4 in to start the week next week. So a lot of stuff coming from us from the college basketball world throughout this month. So definitely going to want to stay tuned on that. But yeah, that's kind of going to do it for me on the college hoops card, Mackie, unless you want to go over a couple of recent plays or things you're liking. But yeah.
Nah, I mean, we just follow this card. This is definitely our most confident card in my eyes. I think so. But we're really killing it right now, especially playoff basketball. We know what we're doing. So looking at Wisconsin plus 1.5, I think we have it at plus 2.5 maybe against Ohio State coming up. So
they're down early, but
in playoff basketball. Yeah, I'm not really worried about that. UNLV's caking, by the way.
Yeah, UNLV is about to cash the money line. We just need that seat.
Yeah, good stuff, guys. Huff, you said it. Lots to look forward to this month in the college basketball world from us, so stay tuned. Along with that, lots to look forward to as MLB opening day is approaching March 30th. We're working on how we're going to address that here this season. Lots to look forward to here in the MLB picks and such as the season approaches. Let's jump into some NHL for this week. The first point I got here is after a big week in the NHL with all the trade deadlines coming and going, or with the trade deadline and coming and going, we see some teams that sold and some teams that bulked up, all coming down to the NHL playoffs in just a few weeks. Any comments here on the trade deadline? Who do you guys think did well? Who guys, didn't do well? Huff, how do you think the Pens did? Things like that. I'm curious.
Yeah, so Jesse, like you said, a lot of moves made at the deadline this year as we see a heavy Eastern Conference really gearing up an arms race really out there to see who can grab that Eastern Conference title. I think some of the big spenders at the deadline, you saw the Bruins, the Maple Leafs, and the Rangers really make some dips into that trade realm, using a lot of assets, seeing a lot of first-round picks flying around as they try to get over the hump and get back to the Stanley Cup. I know that the Leafs added Ryan O'Reilly and a few defensemen. The Rangers got that big move with Kane, and then they got Tarasenko and some more depth. The Bruins adding a lot of pieces. Those are the teams I really look at out east. Mackie, if you had to give out a grade to some of those teams that I just talked about, Where do you think they sit after those big moves?
So with the actual moves, I'll go the Rangers with an A. Obviously, you're adding two players like Tarasenko and Kane. The experience these two guys have and what they bring to the table is tremendous. Bruins, I'll go B plus, A minus, whichever one. They're just adding pieces to a stacked roster. They didn't really need much. They just needed to add just a little depth. And Orlov has been the absolute steal so far. Guy's playing out of his mind. So we got Bertuzzi recorded a point on his first night against the Rangers. They're just showing up right now. So give them a B plus, A minus. Leafs all right. Leafs I like Ryan O'Reilly. It's a good piece to add to that team. I don't know. I just don't think that's what's going to put them over the edge. And every single year they seem to find themselves a little short. And is Ryan O'Reilly the answer? I know what you're going to say. He was the answer on St. Louis, but I don't know. We could see what this Toronto team does with him.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Ryan O'Reilly definitely brings some veteran experience to that roster. I know they added Gustafsson on the back end, Jake McCabe, and a few others, Noel Acciari as well. But I'd probably put the Maple Leafs right there in that B range. I think they overspent to get some of those pieces, and O'Reilly already going down with an injury, broken finger, I believe. Tough to see right away off the bat. But they got to hope that gets them over the hump. I still think that their goaltending woes will hold them back. And talking about the other ones, despite how Patrick Kane has underperformed so far, you have to give the Rangers an A with what they did. For the little amount they gave up to acquire Patrick Kane, potentially the best American player of all time, I mean, that's insane. I think he's just going to show up in the playoffs and either have a crucial goal or a 10-point series and really stake his claim as a big piece of the Rangers. And then Tarasenko as well. I mean, you add those two scoring pieces, you're getting an A on his trade grade. Bruins took a lot of creativity to navigate around that tight salary cap as they were very limited in what they could do, and they made moves that worked. They got Bertuzzi, they got Orlov, and they got Hathaway. And I'm eager to see how they become cap compliant. Right now they have Taylor Hall on the IR, but they might pull Tampa Bay Lightning and try and eke that out to the playoffs. I'd still give them about an A grade. Bruins, Rangers, A. Give the Leafs a B. The only other team in the East that comes to mind at the deadline would be those New Jersey Devils, adding Timo Meier. I'm going to give them a B as well. I think this move will really help down the road. Teams like the Senators, you can give them a high grade as well. Chychrun. Other than that, I don't think the Canes really needed to add much. I know they added some pieces, nothing notable. They already had that roster stacked. And then out east, I can't think of anybody else. I know the Pens added some depth pieces. Horvat went to the Isles. Those things do jump out at you, but not worthy of an A grade. I'll give those Bs as well. And then, Huff, you have anything to say about some of those moves that we just touched upon?
Yeah, obviously I didn't have too much to butt in on. Obviously, I kind of agreed with everything you said, Mackie, with the things about the Bruins and how they were already just kind of adding to a stacked roster. Ace, you made that point whenever they got Orlov and Bertuzzi and all those guys last week. And then obviously, like you said, Rangers, they get Patrick Kane, they get Vladimir Tarasenko, two proven cup winners and goal scorers that have done it for here and there all throughout the league. You got to give them the props where props are due. Like you said, they haven't necessarily had the success on the ice since getting there. Mostly in Patrick Kane's case, I know he hasn't had the hottest start in New York, but obviously anytime you have a 3-time Stanley Cup winner and you can get him for a second and fourth round pick, I think you're going to go ahead and do that. And the Rangers went out and did it. Credit to them. Obviously, we've been hearing about this trade for a couple of months, and they finally went out and they said, okay, let's just do this. Let's go all in this year and figure this out. We have the team to do it. I think we're gearing up for a great NHL playoffs. A lot of these teams made good moves. The Penguins took a page out of the Pirates book, bringing back Nick Menino and thinking that was going to solve all the problems, bringing back the guy that everyone loved a couple of years ago, going to get a couple people back in the stands wearing his jersey. It's not what we needed. Good player for the fourth line, but Nick Menino is not going to be the difference between a 6-game first-round exit and making a Stanley Cup run, in my opinion. But I don't know. I'm interested to see how Granlund catches on with the Penguins, but other than that, no too huge of moves. We get Kulikov off the Ducks, but we needed a defenseman. I've been saying that, a left-handed defenseman. So we went out and got that. A little tougher kind of play style, which I like, but Granlund, Bonino, I would have liked, like I said last week, a JT Miller, a Brock Besser, even a Jacob Chychrun, but I just keep living in fantasy land over here. I guess Ron Hextall sees something I don't in this team and has more faith than I do right now. But that performance yesterday, Tristan Jarry gives up 3 in the first period to the Blue Jackets, 1 early to start the second, and the Penguins rally back and win. We had a -1.5. I really had faith they were going to cover that -1.5 with an empty net. But obviously they couldn't get one in the third, and they went to overtime and won the game. But to rally back from down 4-0, obviously it's against Columbus, so you take that with a grain of salt. But not necessarily one of the best teams in the NHL. But they've been playing well. I think they're still going to be one of those bubble teams that we're talking about later on in the season as it comes to an end and we get down to the NHL playoffs. But my trust in Tristan Jarry is starting to fade away. But not addressing the problems that we had at this trade deadline, I would give I'll be the harsh one at the Penguins. I'll give them maybe a C-. Like, you needed a goal scorer and a talented defenseman. You went and got a hitting defenseman and a fourth-line center. I think there could have been more done. The Bruins didn't need people, and they went and got a goal-scoring defenseman and a fourth-line tough motherfucker that's going to probably score goals for them in the playoffs because he's going to get the chances. So, I don't know. Like I said, maybe they see something I don't. That's just my rant about the Penguins. I've been waiting to get that off my chest.
Deservedly so. I've been in those deadlines before where it seems like we didn't do too much, but I think it's going to take more than one member of that HBK line to come back and bring you guys to the glory days.
I literally said that. I go, just what we need. I go, what's next? Phil Kessel's coming back too? Like,
yeah. I mean, really, they're diving into the past. It's not going to get them much further than it has in recent memory. But you talked about those Blue Jackets. They've really been killers on our daily card, killing those puck lines. So we're definitely going to lock in and look at that a bit more. Stay away from them, even though they seem lowly on the sports betting sites.
They're half the reason
team.
we've taken this dip in the NHL.
They are literally like 60% of the reason that we've taken this dip.
And I was still on that Penguins one, and we still wrote it, but we're going to be looking into those numbers a bit more. I know Mackie and Huff are big stat guys. Jesse's great at pulling those for us too, so we'll bounce back for sure. One more thing about those Blue Jackets to say. They were involved in a very crazy deal we talked about last week, seeing Jonathan Quick go to their team but never actually suiting up. Since last week, though, he's actually been dealt to the Vegas Golden Knights in what I think is one of the crazier moves out west at the deadline. I know they added Barbashev from St. Louis has really turned it up playing with Eichel and Marchessault, but Quick is going to be interesting to see come down the stretch and in the playoffs for a Vegas Golden Knights team that can't get over the hump. I mean, two-time Stanley Cup champion, that'll help. That's got to be one of my favorite moves of the deadline. Other than that, out west, I also liked how the LA Kings added Korpisalo as they look towards their playoff run. That'll be a good piece. And furthermore, the last one I want to touch on is those Dallas Stars. You see those on our card almost night in and night out, and they had a big move with Max Domi, who seems to bounce around team and year in, year out. I mean, he produces those, so that'll be another piece for a high-octane team in Dallas out west. I know Mackie's got some thoughts on these Western trade deadline acquisitions as well.
Yeah, Domi to Dallas is nice. He actually netted one the other night for us. We ended up losing outright anyway, but it was still nice to see his impact right away. Question about Quick in Vegas. You think he's going to start in the playoffs?
I don't think so, but at the same time, you have these young guys, right, or inexperienced starters going into the playoffs. If they falter early, I would think that there's a quick change to Jonathan Quick, and if he catches any type of success... Yeah,
no pun
if he
intended.
Catches any type of success, they'll ride Jonathan Quick until that flame dies, I think.
Yeah, I think the main thing about grabbing him right now is the fact that they have 2 injured goalies right now, and they're playing Aiden Hill every single night. But, yeah, you're definitely right about the veteran experience. He's been there before. He knows what it feels like. And, you know, you get Logan Thompson, who's a rookie. He goes out there and gives up 4 in 2 straight games or a few quick ones. And, you know, you got to pull that. Get the veteran experience out there.
Yeah, I really like that kid Logan Thompson. I hope he's able to get back so he can have the net for the playoffs for them. I really think he's a good goalie.
Yeah, he is really good, but
I know Jesse's going to get into the awards here shortly, but Logan Thompson agreed. Great goalie. I was hoping he would have stuck around in that Rookie of the Year race, but injury kind of held him back after a great campaign.
Dude, wasn't he in like Vezina talks too early on?
Yeah, early on. I'd say early first half.
It never meant anything really because it was so early, but
yeah.
And then Allmark went on that. The Bruins and Allmark went on that streak, and it just was never a question.
Dude, what are Allmark's odds at this point? They got to be like minus 600, 700.
We'll review them. I have that here.
Yeah, we've got them coming up.
Didn't know we had it coming up. Got it.
Mackey, UNLV cash, Seton Hall up 6.
Nah, 3. DePaul just banged a 3.
Oh, really? You're ahead of me.
Well, I'd say we had a very successful trade deadline. Lots to look forward to there, lots to analyze and take care of. So we'll see how these teams fare come into the playoffs. Real excited about that. Next point I got here is Connor McDavid. Connor McDavid currently sitting at 124 points. He needs just 26 points in 17 games, I believe, to reach 150 points on the season. What do we think? Do we think he'll accomplish this feat?
Yeah, real quick. Earlier, about 2-3 weeks ago, we had this conversation. I said he's going to get 150, and you guys are like, no way. He's put up like 23 points in the last 10 games. It's been unbelievable. But, yeah, he's going to get this. I mean, he's averaging almost over 2 points per game at this point. I mean, he doesn't even need that to get this, and he's just been on a tear. Nothing you can do to stop him. It's 2 goals every single night. If it's not 2 goals, it's 2 assists. Yeah, it's all. I mean, he's easily getting this.
Yeah, you're right. The thing is, Huff and I were against it. I mean, no discredit to Connor McDavid. This is just something we haven't seen in our lifetime.
Yeah,
right.
True.
It's crazy. Mackie, you're right. Like, we should have seen this coming. He's the best talent we've ever seen step on the ice. But, like, it's so crazy to think that that's even possible in this NHL, especially since the rest of the league is so good. But here he is doing it, and he's going to accomplish that feat. Happy I have his MVP ticket sitting in my pocket.
In this talented of a league, it's incredible what he's doing. He's got to score 70 goals, dude. He's never scored 50 goals in the season. I didn't know that until he got it. But he's already at 54, and he has, 17 games left, you said? He's going to score 70.
Yeah.
He's never scored 50.
Fun to watch.
No, that was his first 50-goal season. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
He's
Big
never been a
Apple
goal
guy.
scorer. He's never been a goal scorer.
All right, good stuff.
Dang.
Let's jump into some of these.
I mean, he's definitely
Okay.
going to get it.
All right, good stuff. Let's jump into some of these awards odds that we got going on for this season. The Calder, the Norris, Vezina, the Hart, all that junk. Ace, do you want to spearhead this one?
Yeah, definitely. Mackie was alluding to it earlier, and I know we kind of touched on this at the halfway point and then early on in the season. Hopefully you listened to our talks earlier because a lot of these picks that we had have came true. These are the current odds where we're sitting right now. A lot of these are locks. If you can, go on to your website, see if you can parlay some long shot odds. Definitely not a bad thing to have. Our partners at BetUS have helped me out. They're definitely sitting on 3 of my tickets that are looking to cash with heavy favorites. I put that in months ago, I think right when our partnership started. I had that McDavid MVP sitting at minus 275 money line, which seems steep. But now coming into today, that Hart Trophy odds, Connor McDavid sitting at minus 4,000. So I'm pretty happy sitting with that minus 275 ticket. Pasternak just behind him at the plus 3,100. That award's just about locked up.
Sitting right behind him at plus 3,100.
Yeah, crazy to say. I think he's got a better chance of catching him in those odds than he does in catching him in the real points race, right? But moving on, another one that we touched on early. You guys remember who we had as our Rookie of the Year pick coming in?
Let me guess. No, I don't think I had Beniers.
Me and Huff, our group consensus was Beniers, who's currently sitting at the leader with minus 370. Next up with Mason McTavish at plus 800. So I grabbed that when we said it at plus 140 early in the season. Hopefully you guys jumped on, as Beniers is above 50 points on the campaign, leading his team to the playoffs. So he should be able to finish up with that minus 370 odds. Moving across the board, the Vezina Trophy, that's all but locked up. We said this a while ago too with Olmark. He's sitting just about the same odds as Beniers at minus 350 to win that Vezina, as long as
I have minus 700 for Olmark and minus 600 for Beniers.
Wow, you have the more updated one. I'd
minus
say.
700 makes sense for Olmark. Minus 350 is a steal right now.
Oh, this is literally 4 days ago. That's why. March 4th. Wow. They've one of the crazier ones to look at is that Norris Trophy. Coming into the year, you definitely would have thought you would have heard names like McCarr, Hedman, or Fox, or even McAvoy in that conversation. Heisman comes to my mind too. But it's Erik Karlsson sitting at the leader with minus 230. Adam Fox just behind. Any surprise by that? I mean, his season's been pretty nasty this year out in San Jose. Kind of lost with all their losing games.
It was also like 3 overtime winners in the span. In that span, it was just he was like he had an insane start to the season, and he hasn't done anything to lose the spot. So I mean, it's just carrying over. He's still edging out Fox for a little. I think he deserves it, even being a Rangers fan. I mean, guy's old as dirt, and he's like getting wins. He's getting I don't even know. I guess he's not even really getting wins, but he's carrying that Sharks team to be at least decent.
He's doing his job with no help really on a team that has no incentive to win, playing out west in San Jose. I mean, kudos to him for showing up. Definitely love to see it. One of my favorite players to watch. I know, longtime listener, we shout him out a lot. Addison Collins, that's his boy out there in San Jose now. So love to see that for the boy. And then the final odds I'd like to touch on, the Jack Adams Award, the coaching one. Obviously it's gonna come down to that Bruins team breaking all these records, so it's going to end up probably going to Jim Montgomery. The odds really leaning that way as well. But some of the other notable coaches that are having good seasons, I got it right here. There's Lindy Ruff with the Devils. I mean, if the Bruins aren't doing what they're doing, that's a lock any other year. That's crazy. I mean, and Rob Brendamore, great coach, year in and year out. He built that team. He's sitting right behind him and Dave Haxall with the Kraken as they look to make their first appearance in postseason history. But Jim Montgomery's sitting at a minus 350 right now. So if you can somehow go into some of your books, I know BetUS, I think you were able to do it, and you can parlay some of those odds for future awards. I'd look at something like Jimmy Montgomery and Linus Ullmark, get that Bruins combo, maybe get Beniers and Ullmark. There's some guys that should be taking them home. We've been saying it all year, and now they're really looking to hone in with some hefty odds. So if you have a chance to do something like that, I'd be looking.
In my opinion, I think the Bruins could lose every single game the rest of the season, and Jim Montgomery should still win Coach of the Year.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I remember when we were younger, we'd be fighting over triple digits, and now we have it with like so many games to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous, especially coming in first year.
Yep, love to see it. Way to be, boys. But a lot of those odds, definitely, that's why you got to ride with us and tune in week in and week out. We give you these updates on some of these awards, and they turn out to ring true most of the time. The four of us dig deep into this research, so want to make sure we give our listeners valued picks.
Love when we can come down the line and say that the picks were good from the beginning. So can't complain about that. Last point we got here in the NHL, boys. Quinn Hughes became the fastest defenseman in NHL history to reach 200 career assists. He did it in just 263 games played, beating Brian Leetch, who reached the milestone in just 264 games. So beat him by just one game. Ace, you want to comment? What do you think?
Yeah, just a quick note on this. Kind of like we were saying with Erik Karlsson. I mean, another guy just going to work day in and day out on a team that's really throwing in the towel, trading away their pieces, and nowhere near the playoffs. Even in his young career, you hear his overshadowed by his brother Jack and having the success they have in New Jersey. So kudos to Quinn Hughes, and eager to watch the rest of his career unfold.
I saw this, and when I saw this in here, I was pretty impressed by this. I didn't really, again, I don't watch too many Vancouver Canucks games, so I guess I didn't realize the kind of pace he's been at throughout his career, so props to him. Definitely don't think about him whenever you think of like a top, offensive defenseman in the NHL, in my opinion, but clearly has shown consistency over, his whole career, so, obviously his brother's having a hell of a year in New Jersey, and he's kind of silently having another good year up in Vancouver, so, but other than that, I was pretty shocked to see that.
This family breeds talent.
Yeah, I mean, we know what kind of talent he has up there in Vancouver. He's a little overshadowed by his brother nowadays, but he's still got all the talent in the world.
They have a third brother too, about to be drafted, no?
Yeah, he's at Michigan. Lights it up.
Yep. Luke Hughes?
Luke Hughes.
They should all go to the Devils.
It'll be interesting to see all three of them take the ice one time, hopefully. Kind of like the Stalls, their second round of
yeah, well, Luke was
brothers.
drafted to the Devils, so he will be on that roster in the next few years.
That'd be cool. Quinn Hughes has to want out of Vancouver soon, right?
I mean, he'll definitely get the bag there.
I mean, you're shipping Horvat like that. You know, you got to see a rebuild coming soon, right? I mean, you still have obviously the pieces. You have Besser, you have Elias Pettersson there. They still have some pieces there that know what they're doing, but I just don't see anything building there. Maybe get to the playoffs, but you know they're never gonna get back to when they had like Luongo and the Sedins and that team was.
They do have a lot of talent though, like you said with Pedersen. And did you guys see the deadline move they kind of did under the radar? They grabbed Philip Hronek from the Detroit Red Wings. I was surprised that he was dealt. That's a good ad in my opinion, a right-handed D-man to play alongside Quinn Hughes. And they grabbed Beauvillier in return for Horvat, who's 25 years old and kind of having some success right away. And then Demko, who's been hurt all season, had a career year last year. They're looking for future success, and I think they have some assets and some youth and come about kind of like the Kraken did this year.
Yeah, I always forget that
Beauvillier
point. Went there in that deal. Beauvillier is a nice piece. He's a good hockey player.
They definitely have pieces. It's just the recency bias on them. Yeah, they've always had someone, I feel like, and they just can't get it done. I don't know. And now, obviously, out west, you have, you know, the Oilers and the Avalanche and, like, the Stars have come along. So I don't see them being one of these powerhouses, but I don't know. I would like to see Quinn Hughes move on, and I'd like to see him go to Jersey, even though that's in the Eastern Conference, but I think that'd be cool to see him play with his brothers.
Good stuff, boys. Lots of good stuff here out of the NHL. You know, picks daily. We got to be better on that NHL card, but lots to look forward to as the playoffs approach. Let's jump into some NBA. The first point I got here is that Colorado police are investigating Ja Morant after an Instagram live video of him flashing a gun in a club became public. Ja has been away from the team since. I believe we found out some more information on this. Huff, do you know anything else on this?
Yeah, they've closed their investigation due to a lack of available evidence in the situation. Basically, the only thing they had was the video, from what I understand. But obviously, Ja Morant's been all over the news and everything with this, and we've even seen like Plexico Burress make a statement saying, "If you haven't learned from me, if you haven't learned from me, learn by me," or something. I don't know. He said some weird ass quote about it, but obviously. Ever since Ja Morant said he's fine in the West, things have not been fine in the West for the Grizzlies. They have not been good on the road.
He really messed himself up with that one, I swear.
Yeah, ever since then, the West got loaded up with players. The Grizzlies' road record has been atrocious, and obviously it's due to the partying on the road that this team is doing. That we saw them blow a lead the other night to the Clippers.
Team, you know how they are.
Oh, yeah, too. And it's like, yeah, I mean, apparently this all happened after Steven Adams held a player-only meeting saying, like, hey, we got to buckle down. When we're on the road, like, we can't be going out all the time. Like, we got to win these road games. These are vital road games coming down to the end of the season. And then, boom, Ja Morant flashes a gun in a club, and this makes the news. If I'm Ja Morant, I know I'm the face of that team, but I'd be scared of Steven Adams. He's definitely an intimidating motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the faces of the league, one of the young faces of the league at this point. Obviously, you don't want to lose a player like that. People are saying he'll be out 50 games. That'll end the season right there. I don't know. He's just being.
I think he is going to get a suspension. It just depends how long. I don't think it'll be anywhere near that. I thought like a couple games.
That was what everyone was saying. 50 games.
Yeah, that was if it was on team premises, and it wasn't. It was at the nightclub, and they dropped the charges against him. If you guys saw that today.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, the big thing is he's a future face of the NBA, right? Or at least wants to be. And you can't be doing things like that. I saw the quote that said he's going to be the first one that's going to make it into the hood by going into the NBA, not making it out. So that was Jalen Rose, I think, had some comments on that.
Going the wrong way there, bud.
That's funny.
Yeah. So the tough thing is with that Grizzlies team that keeps looking to make that next step and be a legitimate contender in the West. I mean, distractions like this with your best player are not the best thing with playoffs just around the corner. So I'd see them as an easy one and done come playoffs, even if everybody's back and playing.
And then that I'm fine in the West is going to be a meme forever.
Yep. And
the
Kevin Durant.
Grizzlies are just consistently memed.
that
do it
the
to
door is
themselves.
wide open. The door is wide open for this Kevin Durant team to swoop right in and grab a ring. But I think we cashed on the Lakers last night on Jawless Grizzlies, right?
Yeah,
Against them.
Grizzlies did not look good down the stretch at all. Jaren Jackson just carries that team. He was in foul trouble today. He was on the bench a lot, but I don't know. That team they just look down in the dumps.
Yeah, we'll
tough
have to
spot for
watch
them.
that as Morant's situation unfolds. We'll have to see and maybe keep betting against them.
They're definitely not fine in the West. I'd say that.
All right, the next point in the NBA, Emmanuel quickly drops a career-high 38 points in 55 minutes in a second overtime win against the one-seeded Boston Celtics in Boston on Sunday night, just one night before WWE Monday Night Raw took over TD Garden. This is the 9th straight win for the New York Knicks, as they currently sit as the 5 seed in the East. Hey, so what do we think about the Knicks come playoff time? They a scary team? Mackie, your New York Knicks.
Yeah, they actually dropped one last night to the Hornets. This is a headline from a few days ago, but this Knicks team is kind of scary. I mean, obviously you have the top 3 teams in the East, and you categorize them ahead, and then you have like the Cavs and the Knicks and all of them. But I mean, this team's won 9 straight. They have shooters everywhere. Jalen Brunson is the best offseason pickup of all time. I swear, the guy's out of control. They won 9 straight. Manuel Quickley is playing some of the best basketball we've seen out of a Knicks point guard in forever. I just think that they could definitely be a sleeper team. If they run into like say they play the Sixers in the first or in the second round, they could definitely beat the Sixers team. I wouldn't really match them up against the Celtics or the Bucks. I think they'd get too oversized by the Bucks, and there's just the shooters on Boston would just take over in a 7-game series. But I think this team is definitely like not someone you're gonna push over. They have a lot of assets, a lot of key pieces on that team that can definitely win a few playoff series.
Yeah, Mac, you're right. It's kind of nice to see the Knicks really have everything falling into place after a few years of a lot of youth and going through the growing pains and whatnot. But they're really starting to come together, and they emphasize that with a road win in double overtime. You could see the way they celebrated that was a big one for them, and hopefully that success carries on to the playoff run. I do think they could give someone a scare down the stretch, take out a top team, not necessarily, but they do have a lot of depth and a lot of scorers there, so a lot of good things for years to come out of New York. Celtics, on the other hand, tough beat on that game, especially those who bet that one. Like Jaylen Brown said, I think they lost another tight one last night in overtime, and Jaylen Brown said it doesn't matter about playing well. We're here to win games, so that's nice to hear the top team not just be content with taking a loss in the regular season, even though they have a lot more to play for down the stretch. Being ready to go night in and night out. And we got Tatum back tonight as well, so eager to watch that one.
Yeah, and obviously that being both of your guys' technical teams in the NBA, me not having really a stake in that, I didn't even have a bet on that game, and I was just watching it, and that was one of the better NBA games I've watched over the past couple of weeks, and I know we had that Phoenix-Dallas game on, I believe it was Saturday or Sunday this past weekend, but that Celtics-Knicks game, that was a great game, Mackie, and I'm right there with you. That kind of showed me that this Knicks team is definitely not going to be an easy out for someone, especially like a Celtics, or if they get matched up against maybe another team gets upset and they get a easier team maybe in the second round, who knows. But I definitely think that Knicks team's here to make some noise. But obviously we know what the Celtics, Bucks, Sixers, they're all capable of, and there's their expectations going into the playoffs, but I don't think many people have expectations for these Knicks, and you can still get good value on them a lot. And I think they're a good team right now. Obviously streaking. You said 9-1 in their past 10, so they've been rolling.
Yeah, and Emmanuel quickly is becoming one of the better point guards of the league. Obviously, you still have your elite Damian Lillard, Luka Doncic, Steph Curry, those guys, but he's definitely right there with like Trae Young. Just what some of the young guys, some of the young point guards in the league that are trying to. Yeah, Fox is trying to establish themselves in that top tier. He's right there, and he's really showing it this season.
I wish you guys would have got Donovan Mitchell.
I like Tyrese Halliburton. I think he's a good stud.
He's a nice piece. He goes under the radar a lot, but I do wish we got Donovan Mitchell. And he's from Elmsford. He's from 15 minutes from my house. Like,
that was trade though, right? That was
what?
Trade, not free agent. That was trade.
Donovan Mitchell to the Cavs?
That was a trade. That sent Sexton
it was a
to
trade.
Utah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Knicks could have done something.
Yeah, no, agreed. But I think they like the group they have, and they'll have it for years to come. All right, that'll do it this week. For me, definitely hyped to be talking some sports with the boys. Like we've been saying all night, gonna get that NHL and NBA card back up and rolling. Looking forward to that, and looking forward to this March Madness and the contest to come. So definitely stay tapped into the socials for these giveaways that are upcoming and our picks, and we'll get you that green.
All right, Ace, thanks. We'll see you here next week. All right, that's just going to about wrap up what we got going on here in the NBA. Let's jump to a little golf. We got the Players coming on this weekend, and now we welcome for the first time to the podcast our buddy Sam Kostelic, who's going to give us a good rundown on some golf. Like I said, Players this weekend, the Masters coming up soon. So let's turn it over to Sam to see what you got. Take it away, Sam. You're fine. All right, go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, so starting off talking about a little bit of golf. Obviously, we got the Players this week, but I want to start off first. Question on everyone's mind when it comes to golf. What's everyone think about LIV? How are we feeling about that? What do we know? What don't we know? Everything. Jesse, I want to know what you know. And you, Mackie, obviously, but I want to hear what everyone wants to say. Go ahead, Mackie. I'm sorry.
I just don't understand how they're able to come back and play in PGA events. Like, if you're getting paid these hundreds of millions of dollars by these Saudi Arabian guys in the LIV, why can you just come back and play PGA and get paid from PGA too?
Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. I think that's the thing with tournaments like the Masters and tournaments like, the US Open, stuff like that. Those aren't, I mean, I don't know the calling on it, but I know those aren't like everyday run of the mill PGA Tour events. So if you've won the Masters, if you've won the US Open, any of these majors, I think they should follow that format where they say, if you won, you should come back. No matter what, you could play on a PGA Tour event in my backyard. I don't care. It shouldn't matter. You should be able to play if you've won. Now, the tricky part is, 100%. Phil Mickelson. And you know what? Golf is at a spot right now where they shouldn't be denying people, especially people like Dustin Johnson, people like Phil Mickelson, stuff like that. It shouldn't matter what's going on. They should not be denying them the reason to come play golf. I only say, what do you think about LIV? Because I personally love it. I think the PGA, similarly to the MLB, is run by a bunch of 65, 70-year-old white guys who are so out of touch with, what might be going on in the world or what might be going on in sports and stuff like that. And it's holding the sport back. You've seen, why do you think golf is just now, getting into the limelight? It's because of stuff like that Last Swing Netflix documentary, or the LIV Tour doing cool shit every week. Like, I don't know. People don't want to see, as stupid as it sounds, no one's tuning in to watch. I'd be lying if I said I'm tuning in for every hour of every shot of every match, because I'm watching a good majority of the time. I barely watch anything Thursdays. It's never Thursdays.
I'm not a big golf guy, so I can't say I'm an avid golf fan, but I basically only watch on Sundays when when it matters most.
But I will say, the reason you're seeing it more on TikTok, or you're hearing about it more on social media and stuff like that, it's because of the stuff like the LIV, where they're making golf fun again. I don't know, like LIV does a pretty cool format where they have teams. I can't recite off the top of my head how the teaming works, but pretty basically, like, I was looking at it today, and they got guys like Bryson DeChambeau, who's a captain. Brooks Koepka is a captain. I think that's a lot cooler of a way to learn about more golfers, as compared to, you got to tune in on Sunday or tune in on Saturday and sit there and say, hey, okay, this guy who, I've never seen before, he might be in the lead. And then you never see him again. Like Kurt Kitayama this weekend, you may never see him top the leaderboard ever again, just because, he's a great golfer, but I'll lead into my next point about who's going to win this weekend, but guys like Scotty Scheffler, guys like John Ram, guys like Max Homa, those are the big names that like Liv was able to go out and get with Mickelson and DeChambeau and Koepka. And I don't know. I just think they're doing it right. I think I'm pretty excited because they just got a TV deal, so they weren't showing their matches on TV up until like I don't know if it started yet or what, but it's starting pretty soon. I'm excited to watch it. I think it'll be cool. I think it'll be a lot more fun of a broadcast. They got a lot more personalities on there, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm sorry to take it up, Jesse. How if you have any thoughts on Liv?
No, but I do have something I want to say, so I'm happy you sent it to me. But I think it's interesting because from a production side that I understand, it's going to make things more competitive, and competition in a lot of ways is good, especially with a powerhouse like the PGA that owns the industry essentially, right? There's no other name in golf that anybody can think of. I can guarantee that. Now with Liv being there, it's going to cause them to be more creative and things like that. So, I mean, that's what we see in the NHL. TNT came in, they're starting to be more creative, getting Biz and, Wayne and all those guys out there. They're setting the bar a little higher. So like ESPN's coming in and they're dropping the ball. Their broadcasts suck. I mean, a lot of times it's the local ones. I get it, which is good that the local people are getting exposure. But anytime that ESPN like does the stuff or whatever, it's a whole mess, right? Talks about the NHL, anything like that.
That's its own fucking thing. I mean, I think I like to compare what I like to compare Liv to is it's almost like if the XFL was like worth watching. That's what it feels like.
I feel that
because it feels like they have that fun, but they also.
That's a really good comparison.
Yeah,
that's a really good comparison in the sense that it's something that is new and you're not used to, but in the sense that the XFL doesn't have the money to go out and get a Josh Allen to pay him $150 million. But what I was going to say about the Liv, and the one thing that I think is interesting is from a PGA standpoint, I think it's actually added value to the PGA. A lot of people saying like, in the sense of, oh, if you're not going to sign for this, what are you going to do? Go play for the Liv? And like that's for the past 40 years, it's been, oh, where are you going to go play golf? Where are you going to go play golf? And now with this whole Liv tour and like at least how it started, it's been kind of like, oh, you're going to play for them kind of idea, and like, you're going to join the Saudis and all the kind of money, and you're taking all the money to go play wherever. But the fact that they're still allowed to play in the majors, I think that's definitely a plus for them. But I think the part of the PGA Tour kind of adding value to themselves is, I think this just put more eyes on the PGA Tour, at least like you said, whether it's the startup of Liv, and that is what got more eyes on golf in general, and it wasn't on TV, so it immediately guys like, the average golf fan that's tuning in to watch a Liv golf event, and they're like, oh shit, it's Sunday afternoon, this Liv event isn't on cable, I guess I might as well watch, the Genesis Invitational, or you know what I mean, any of these other PGA events that are just on your average weekend on a Sunday afternoon. And I mean, you look at some of these majors, like obviously we have the Players this weekend, the Masters coming up, and I think obviously there's a reason that Liv players are coming back to the PGA for these majors, and it's still going to be the king, kind of like you said with the XFL and the NFL. The NFL will always be king no matter how much money the XFL ever gets, but I do think the PGA is still in a good spot. I think they do need to do things to grow the game and enhance it to a younger audience, but I think from a Liv standpoint, I think that, like you said, they did it right. I mean, right in the sense that they just went out and got a bunch of big names that people want to see, a Dustin Johnson, a Phil Mickelson, a Brooks Koepka. They went out and basically signed both of the Brooks and DeChambeau rivalry, that kind of rivalry they had cooking, and went and got both of those guys so they would kind of have a storybook kind of rivalry to start their season. I know I kept using that term, but that's exactly kind of what they wanted. They wanted a storyline to start the PGA or start the Liv event, I guess, right? Kind of something to put your eyes on the TV. But back to the PGA, I think it's all good with them. I think obviously we've seen some of the numbers on their majors over the past couple of years have slipped, but obviously you're still going to get eyes on the Masters and all these other big major events.
Now, okay, two points to that. The first point, I think it's funny you say like how like you can kind of compare PGA and what I don't know if you guys saw it. Liv Golf tweeted the other day about how the PGA came out with a bunch of, I'm just reading up on it right now, and they're gonna have a bunch of events that are no cut events, which is similar to what Liv's doing, And they're also increasing their prize purse again. So Live Golf tweeted back at it and they said, imitation is the greatest form of flattery. Congratulations, PGA. Welcome to the future. I thought that was hilarious, but this is going to lead me into my next point about someone who I don't care for particularly lately. Rory McIlroy's been really outspoken about fuck this, fuck that, Live, he's MF and all these Live guys. He's the one who's out here also pushing for these no-cut events, stuff like that. I personally think, this is just stupid off the top of my head, but I think Rory McIlroy just didn't get a Live deal and is just pissed about that. But also, I think that I don't know. I think that the second point I want to bring up is, what do you think with Live growing and probably making more money? How do we think more and more players are going to transition from the PGA Tour over there? And do you think it'll happen? Do we think they can get another big name? I don't know.
I think if this TV deal goes well, yeah. Because they want exposure too. There's more than just their name. They want to build up their name more than just what they do on the golf course.
I think the PGA kind of still has the golf world in that chokehold where it's like, okay, well, they could go out and take John Rahm. They'll find some new kid who's a little bit lower in the world ranking. He'll shoot up. Next thing you know, he's the next star. And I think, I don't know, the PGA just does a good job at replacing their stars. But we saw that leads me to my next point, which, this is just kind of off the top of my head too, kind of a good segue. But who do we think from the Live can pose a threat on April, whenever that is, in Augusta? Who do we think is going to do it? Because one of those Live guys is going to make a run. I'm checking my notes. I got Dustin Johnson and Cam Smith. Dustin Johnson at the Masters is going to be a top 10. I'd love to play him at 5, but I don't know. Top 5 betting's tough, especially in the PGA. But he's going to be top 10. There's no doubt in my mind about that, because that guy has been shit on from everyone in the PGA, Rory McIlroy, up and down about what he did for his money, which is no one else's fucking business to begin with. I don't know if you guys watch Full Swing on Netflix if you haven't already. It's pretty cool look inside what they're doing in the golf world, but everyone's shitting on him, this and that. I've made it clear before, I'll make it clear again. The Live Golf Tour is an opportunity for golfers to do what they want. Dustin Johnson said this. They could do it less and they make more money. I'd do the same fucking thing. I don't know why anyone else wouldn't, but whatever. I think Dustin Johnson, just purely off of the fact that he's out of the limelight a little bit while he's on Live, hasn't been seen by the PGA that much. He's going to want to shine at Augusta, and he's going to do it. He might still be the best golfer in the world, but the index doesn't work like that where they don't rank you, whatever, stupid shit. But I still think Dustin Johnson can. I think Dustin Johnson's really going to fire on the same hand from a guy who wants to be that PGA stud and show off. Rory McIlroy, also top 10 on Sunday at the Masters. They're just, those two are if anything, they're both the face of their respective leagues. So Rory's going to be the guy who wants to show off for the PGA, and Dustin's going to be the guy who wants to show off for the Live. It's that simple. Not that hard. It's golf. It's emotional. Everything about that game is fucking emotional. And whenever you want to win more, like guys like Dustin Johnson, guys like Rory McIlroy, whenever they want to win more, they're going to be in that mix. I don't know. That's the end of it. And that's looking way ahead at the Masters. My bet is going to change. I still think those two guys are going to stay in, but I'm going to add a lot more. I want to see, let's get into the players a little bit here. What a weekend we got ahead of us here. The Players Championship. I want to say, yeah, so Players Championship, they're playing it this weekend. Where the hell? Oh, they're playing it at Sawgrass too? Jeez, I did not. They always play it at Sawgrass though, don't they? Am I wrong?
I have no idea.
Yeah, whatever. what a weekend. TPC Sawgrass. I'm fucking thrilled. I think 17 is going to be a blast all weekend. I think if you have a chance to go to the event, you're going to have a blast. This is the fifth major, right? Does anyone else know that one? I think this is the fifth major.
Wait, sure. Where is this?
This one's at Sawgrass.
Oh, it is.
TPC Sawgrass. Yeah, this is at TPC Sawgrass. You got probably the best hole in golf with the 17th hole.
Definitely the best hole in golf.
Yeah, easily the best hole in golf. I'll get a little off topic again here. Going back to Live, before we get fully into majors, Live. One more thing I saw with Live. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but it must be an event coming up, something like that. They built a 16th hole similarly to what they have for the Waste Management Open. That stadium hole. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking. The 16th at the Waste Management or whatever it is.
Are you
talking to me? Sorry. What'd you say?
I'm talking to whoever wants to listen to me. TPC Sawgrass Stadium. I said so. I said going back to Live real quick. Yeah. So going back to Live's 16th at Waste Management, whatever it is, they just built that like stadium-esque hole where everyone's going nuts and throwing beers and shit. They just built one like that for the Live course they're playing this week.
That's like the best thing they could do for golf.
Yeah, you've seen that? You've seen that hole, right, Mackie?
Yeah, 100%. People go crazy. I think that's like the whole thing about like old school golf is that like it's so quiet and everyone's so proper, and like I think that like, the new ways of doing it is just like people going and getting a little drunk and getting a little rowdy and like getting hyped for golf, like nice shots. Obviously, you got to be respectful during their backswing and everything whenever they're shooting, but like people want to get loud for a nice shot, a hole in one maybe.
I just sent you guys on here a picture of the hole they're building for Live. I think it's supposed to fit a few more thousand than what they got at the Waste Management, but it looks unreal.
Where'd you send it?
It looks sick. Right in the one chat we have on here. On Discord.
Okay. The during recording chat.
Yeah.
Dang, that's wild.
All right. Yeah, but Live. Pretty cool. The new hole they're building. It's over in Australia. I don't really know. I mean, I'd imagine they do a few American. I mean, I'd mostly American dates, but I mean, you'd imagine they do a few over there. Saudi probably, which is they're gonna go crazy on that golf course. But yeah, that's Live. I mean, it's pretty obvious there's some adapting being made off both these leagues. But all right, let's get into it. Players this weekend, great weekend. We got TPC Sawgrass, beautiful course. People know that's a good portion of my bets are coming from the fact that I'm looking at how guys like, let's say, first let's start off with this. There are 3 guys I don't like this weekend based off history at Sawgrass, with the exception of Patrick Cantlay. Patrick Cantlay plays the course well, but I just don't like him this week. I think he's been playing a little too hot. I think all 3 of these guys have been playing a little too hot. I think Rory this weekend, I don't like him just because he's been playing hot, and I think age is catching up, unfortunately. I don't like Colin Morikawa this weekend. He hates Sawgrass. He doesn't make cuts there. I don't think he's going to make it this weekend. But yeah, those are my 3 guys this weekend I don't like at all. Now, Rory McIlroy, I said I like him for the Masters. That's a different story, different type of turnout. I hate to say people are taking an off week this week just because it still is the Players and it's a big one, but we know where the eyes are focused. The Masters is only less than a month, probably only a month away once they start the Players weekend. So there's some thought to that. And this has always been kind of a little bit of a, the fifth cousin, the redheaded stepchild of the majors, and that's how it is this week. So I still think guys are going to be going out there shooting hard. But I expect guys like Rory, guys like Patrick Cantlay, guys like Patrick Morikawa, or Colin Morikawa, I'm sorry. I don't think they're going to make cuts this weekend. I don't think they have a shot at winning it. But yeah, I'm gonna stay off those guys. On the other hand, in terms of winners this weekend, I like Jon Rahm. Everyone likes Jon Rahm. I think he's number one ranked golfer in the world, and there's a reason for that. The guy can't stop winning tournaments. I mean, he really can't. I think he's looking to make a breakthrough with the players here, and he's going to have a big year in 2023 with some of these majors. And I think he's looking to get that start with the players. I like him a lot, plus 1,000 right off the bat. He's a guy I have also to make cuts, make everything top 10. I'm fully in on Jon Rahm this weekend.
He's plus 1,000 to win it.
Plus 1,000 to win it, yes, sir.
Who's got the best odds?
I want to say it's. I mean, I know Scotty Scheffler also has plus 1,000 odds, so he's another guy I have to win it this week. Yeah, that's how golf betting works, which is fun. Let me pull up the lines real quick.
I can read through them here, Sam, if you'd like.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull them up just for my. But give me the top 5 real quick.
All right, here's the top 5. Rory coming in number 1 at plus 950. Scotty Scheffler coming in at plus 1,000. Jon Rahm plus 1,100. Patrick Cantlay at plus 1,600, and Max Homa at plus 1,600. Justin Thomas at plus 1,700. That's the top 6.
Okay. I have Rom or not Rom. I have I don't know. Homa, he's hit or miss for me. I've lost a few bets on him, unfortunately, lately, so I kind of hate playing him, but at the same time, it's tough not to put him up there because he's one of the top ranked guys. He's pretty consistently in the top 15. So I like Max Homa a lot for top 20. Let's put it that way. I don't have that in my notes, but I have Max Homa top 20, which I like a lot. Some of my top 40 guys, these two guys are minus 150, and I think they're doing for top 40. I got Will Zalatoris and I got Jordan Spieth, both at minus 150, top 40. I love that. Jordan Spieth, I don't know if anyone caught any of the tournament last week. I can't imagine they did, but Jordan Spieth played like shit last week. He can't putt. He can't putt to save his life. TPC Sawgrass loves guys who can't putt. I think Spieth is all over this one weekend. I'd even tease him. I'd even say go at him at top 20. I personally hate the guy from a strictly personal standpoint, so I'm not putting him anything higher than top 40. But we'll go top 40 for him. Will Zalatoris too, the kid who looks like Happy Gilmore's caddy. Top 40, easy, money. And then out of him, I'm trying to find the Jesse. Can you pull what it would be? Oh no, I have it right here. Okay, so Group C for this weekend, it's going to be Hovland, Sungjae, Spieth, Kim, and Zalatoris. I like Will Zalatoris out of that group. He's plus 300 out of that group. I like that a lot. I'd say book it. Jordan Spieth's a little bit of a trouble there. I think Jordan Spieth's going to give him a run for his money. I think Jordan Spieth's going to end up top 40. I don't think he beats Zalatoris, though. I think Zalatoris is playing better golf right now. And I think I wish I had it. Zalatoris' history at Sawgrass I remember he eats that course alive. So I'd say keep him in your mind. Keep him in the back of your head. He could be real trouble this weekend. Now, this is my favorite part of the segment where we talk about live betting golf. That's where I make my money. These are 4 guys here that you're going to want to keep in mind to live bet maybe Saturday, maybe Sunday to get top 5, top 10, even maybe win it. I got Jordan Spieth again, and I got Will Zalatoris again. Those 2 guys this weekend, outside of Scheffler and Rahm, those are my shoe-ins, but I think Spieth and Zalatoris are going to have a weekend. Something's just telling me. I don't know what it is. I think Jordan Spieth's been out of the light a little bit too long, and I think he needs to make his reemergence. And Zalatoris is just playing good golf. Keep an eye on those guys for a live bet. Maybe top 5, top 10. Like I said, maybe even to win it. I also like Jason Day a lot this weekend. Jason Day is a guy who's a bit older. He really took the world by storm whenever he started golfing, but he kind of fell off a little bit. And he's coming back on now. He's 35 years old. playing some of the best golf of his life. I'd say keep him in mind for a little bit of a live bet this weekend. I wouldn't play him off the bat just because Thursday, Friday could go any which way. But those two guys are awesome, or that guy's awesome. Keep an eye on him to possibly make a little run at it. Now this is a fun bet because this isn't really in terms of any golfers. This is just something that I believe is gonna happen, especially at a tournament like this. The winning stroke margin of this tournament is gonna be one stroke. It's happened the past 6 times at TPC Sawgrass for this tournament. It's gonna happen again. I'm telling you right now, that's
What is it?
One stroke. That's winning stroke margin is going to be one stroke. I want to say it's 275, but let me do some research real quick.
That's an interesting play because no matter who wins, you're obviously in play.
Mm-hmm. And that's
You're just hoping it's close.
Find it on here.
Wait, what is it again, Sam? Cut score?
Winning stroke margin. I'm going to pull it up on DraftKings real quick. Get that running for you. But that is going to hit. Like that might be my most sure bet of the weekend. I'm gonna be honest with you. It has nothing to do with a fucking golfer. It's one stroke. That's how it's gonna be. Because guys, it's the players, and there's a ton of guys who want to win this thing. Who, this is a tournament for guys like Will Zalatoris or guys like Jordan Spieth who haven't won a lot lately. Guys like Hatton, guys like even Fitzpatrick. They haven't won a lot lately. They want to get back into the game. The players is the perfect time to do that. That's why I hate playing guys. Scotty Scheffler and John Rahm. Those are the only two guys right now who I'm just like this. These two are killing shit right now, and they're gonna be in the conversation. But other than that, that's why I don't like Rory. That's why I don't like. I really don't. I mean, Homa is fun to watch, and it's cool to keep as a live bet. But off the bat, I don't love him because those guys aren't worried about this weekend. Rory McIlroy's not worried about this weekend. It's all about the Masters for those guys and guys like the middle of the pack guys. There's going to be a bunch of guys in the top 5, top 10 who are tied. And that last stroke on that last putt at the end of the day is going to matter a lot, and it's going to win the thing. I'm telling you, it's one stroke this weekend. No one's going to blow out. It's not going to happen. I meant to check the odds on that. But yeah, that's the one I love the most. TPC Sawgrass, everyone knows that it's good. No one's going to go out there and blow it up. Yeah, I like that one a lot. Let me see what the money looks like on this, but yeah, I don't know what it is. Regardless, it's going to hit. Find it. I think it's like plus 250, something crazy like that.
I got a question for you. Do you like Will Zalatoris to beat Shane Lowry by a half a stroke in round one?
No. I like Lowry better than that. I think Shane Lowry's playing better golf than.
You've been gassing up Zalatoris this entire time. How are you gonna go against him?
What do you mean?
All you've been saying is how good Zalatoris is gonna do this time. Why do you think Shane Lowry is gonna beat him?
Who'd you say against Shane Lowry?
Zalatoris.
Oh, you said some name that didn't sound like Zalatoris at all, or something broke up. I thought you said some like Asian name. I was like, who are you fucking talking about?
Zalatoris minus a half over Shane Lowry.
Yeah, I like that. I like out of that. I don't know if are they in the same group by chance?
I don't know. It's a head-to-head matchup.
They're not. Yeah, if that's head-to-head, I like that. I don't know. I'm sold on Zalatoris this weekend. If there's a dark horse guy, it's him. If there's a favorite guy, it's Scheffler. But those are the two guys this weekend. But it's going to be won by one stroke. Not 2, not 3. One stroke. Unless it goes to a playoff, which would fucking be unreal. And I don't know. I think this might be one worth spreading a little money on to make a play. Like, because there's probably a little prop bet where you could say, oh, it makes playoff, whatever, this and that. I'd say go for that. But yeah, that's what I have for the players this weekend. Anyone got any questions?
No.
Just bet Zalatoris. I'm taking Zalatoris over Shane Lowry.
Dude.
So
I like Zalatoris this weekend. The kid just keeps getting better, and it's crazy. It's literally insane.
I like him too.
if he could putt, he'd probably be a top 5 golfer in the world. That's the thing, though. That's why
Putting is
that's why
such
I
a
like
big
Zal.
part of the game.
Oh, it's the biggest part of the game, in my
Exactly.
personal opinion. I mean, you remember what happened to Dustin Johnson a few years back? He 3-putted to lose that. This was years ago. He 3-putted to lose that tournament, and it was just the most insane shit. I'd have to find a video what tournament that was. I want to say it was the U.S. Open. Dustin Johnson.
That's tough.
3-putt. Was it a 3-putt or? Yeah, 2015 U.S. Open. Yep. Lost him $2.4 million. That's crazy. That's why I went to the Live. Needed to make back all that money. But yeah. Yeah, other than that, fellas, that's all I got for you guys today.
Love it, Sam. Lots of good stuff there. Yeah, players this weekend, Masters coming up. We look forward to having you back on here soon to dive a little deeper into the Masters.
Awesome, guys. Thank you for having me today. Hopefully I can talk to you guys in a couple weeks, couple bucks richer off Will Zalatoris' putting stroke. But yeah, thanks, guys, and I'll talk to you later.
Sounds good. Thank you, Sam.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
Thanks for joining, brother.
Alrighty, lots of good stuff from Sam in the golf world. But let's jump back into the NFL. The first point I got here is Derek Carr inks a deal with the New Orleans Saints. 4 years, $150 million, $100 million guaranteed. NFC South bulking up there for the Saints. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I've been saying this. I've been saying if I'm a free agent quarterback, whether I'm a Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers, any of these big names that are floating around in free agency, I'm looking at the NFC South. I'm picking my team, and that's where I'm going because it's a wide open division. I've been saying that, and the Saints are starting to. They finally got their guy at quarterback, or at least we think, and a formidable quarterback in Derek Carr. I have faith in him to go in there and have a pretty solid season with a weak division and a good defense and some good weapons around him, and Alvin Kamara and Chris Olave, Mike Thomas, if he can get a healthy Mike Thomas, and a skill player like Taysom Hill. I'm usually down on the Saints, and I really like this move for them. I think this is kind of what they needed. They were kind of flirting like potential with Jameis and Taysom, and they didn't really know what they had going for themselves at quarterback. And I think now they got their guy, and they have a guy that they can put faith in for the next 4 years for the duration of this contract.
Yeah, Huff, you've been talking it up all off season, I guess. Just go to the NFC South, try to make your mark there in a weak division. You might as well, right? And I think this move puts them over that edge. They will take this division this year, but how far does it really get them in the grand scheme?
Exactly. Yeah.
They'll get to that. They'll probably be that fourth seed, the one that the last division winner. They're gonna play the first wild card, who's usually gonna be a powerhouse. And I think this could be another first-round exit for another NFC South division winner who doesn't really deserve it at the end of the day. I don't see this team winning more than 10 games this season. Derek Carr, he's good, but he's really not. Like, what has he proved? He hasn't really proved anything.
Yeah, he hasn't really proven anything.
He had Devontae Adams for a full year. He had a lot of expectations this year. Obviously, nothing worked out. They're going their separate ways. But I don't know. This guy has a lot to prove. And if he does prove what I think he can, what he's capable of, this team could be a scary team come in a weak NFC, in my opinion. I don't think the NFC is definitely the weaker conference out of the two of them. But yeah, I mean, we could see what he could do, but I just don't have a lot of confidence in this Saints team come playoff time.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, next point I got. Anthony Richardson said he felt an instant rapport with the Seattle Seahawks and Pete Carroll. He also went on to say that something about their meeting was different. Anthony Richardson's draft stock has been soaring since the end of the college football season, and after an impressive combine, he is looking to be one of the first quarterbacks off the board in this year's draft. Any comment on that?
I watched this kid all last season, and obviously he's an athletic, freak. And the NFL Combine's all about your speed and jumping and skills, and it's perfect for guys like that to go in there and just, put a lights out performance for just a freak athlete. But I don't know. I'm very interested to see where he ends up going, because we've heard spots of him, the start of the season, he wasn't even a first-round quarterback, I don't think. And now, he's projected. A lot of these teams people are picking that they're going to trade up to get him, and he could go number 1 to the Colts. He could go, number 2 to the Texans. But the Texans seem like they're pretty sold on Bryce Young if he's there. But, I've watched Anthony Richardson play. I never thought he was going to be, a top pick in the NFL draft, but props to him, whatever him and his team are doing down there, putting his name out there and his athletic ability, but I'm interested to see where he falls on draft night.
Yeah, week one of college football season this year, he had an incredibly athletic play. He faked the through, rolled out simultaneously, and by the time the defense even knew where he was halfway to the end zone.
He had the one play against LSU too this year that was crazy.
Yeah, so he right there. I thought I predicted he was going to be a Heisman candidate. I was off about that, but he's just a crazy athlete, is what I've come to realize. This is not a guy who's going to come in and just take over a franchise. I think he's going to have to come in behind somebody, mentor them, and I think Ace said it best. But this is a good spot for him to go into Seattle behind Geno for a year or two and see what he can do behind a veteran, and then come in 2 years after a little experience in the practice squad, maybe a few game reps. But this isn't a guy. I think he's being a little too overvalued. I think he's only played 13 career. He's only had 13 career starts in college football. I mean, you're looking way too far into it. I don't know what made his stock rise so much. Maybe it's just his freak athleticism, but this isn't a guy that's going to come into the league and make an immediate impact, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the best situation for him is to find somewhere with a quarterback that he could sit and learn from, whether it be a guy like Geno Smith that's kind of been all over the depth chart for teams all across the league. I think that'd be a good situation for him up in Seattle.
Very excited for the draft here coming up. Is that around your birthday, Huff?
Yeah, me and Mackie's birthday. It's always a week of our birthday.
That's what I thought. Yeah, coming up here around the end of April, so lots to look forward to when that arrives. Next point here, Calvin Ridley is finally reinstated from his gambling suspension. He was suspended in 2021 as a member of the Falcons and was forced to miss the whole 2022 season. He will come back to an already stacked Jaguars roster. How do we see him panning out with this Jaguars team?
I think, it's not necessarily the bold statement going into this year. This team was plus 750 going into last year to win the AFC South, and this year they're going to come in as probably the heavy favorite, I think, in my opinion, to win that division. And with the Texans in rebuild mode, the Colts in rebuild mode, and the Titans obviously unloading and talks of getting rid of Derrick Henry, we'll get into that. But I think the only way is up for this Jaguars team, and they won a playoff game last year against a struggling Chargers team. Obviously, they came back from that crazy lead at halftime and battled back. This Jaguars team, I think the only way is up from there. And they got guys like Trevor Lawrence, you said, leading the way. And the defensive side of the ball, they got studs all over the place too. So I think Jacksonville is definitely going to be a valuable team this year. A team that I was all over last year with some of those spreads. They were getting 10 points in some of these games, or road games, and they were a consistent cover machine last year for me at certain points, and another team I'll have my eye on this year, but a lot of the rest of America will too, obviously, as they kind of are the big dog in that division. Not necessarily a powerhouse division, but kind of similar to the NFC South. Just got one team that, if they can put things together, I think they're a shoo-in to win the division.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley missed the best possible part of his career. He was on a terrible Falcons team. Obviously got suspended on that team, and then he gets traded to the Jaguars. Still, while the Jaguars are terrible, Jaguars finally get good. He gets reinstated, and he's back on the field to help the team win a division. It's kind of cool how it worked out for him. But this Jaguars team has a lot of expectations this year. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence is being looked at as a top 5 quarterback in the league now. I think it's a little crazy to me, but he is a very good quarterback, and he has a ton of potential, and he's first overall pick. So, This Jaguars team has a lot of pieces now. Trevor Lawrence should have a pretty good year this year, and that division is not a lot of competition to win that division. So, should be cool. Should be nice to have Calvin Ridley back on that team.
Yeah, good news there, getting him back in the league. All right, next point here. Down in Tennessee, the Titans are looking to shop star running back Derrick Henry. Henry has led the league in rushing yards 2 out of the last 4 years, including winning Offensive Player of the Year in 2020. Where do we see Derrick Henry ending up? Anywhere big? Any big cities? What do we think?
I think this is the prime chance for the Buffalo Bills to go out and get the guy that they've needed. They made a move. They tried to make a move to bring home Christian McCaffrey and go on that run that we watched that San Francisco 49ers team go on, and I think the best fit for him is going to be up in Buffalo. It's just whether they can get the money to fit right or the assets to go back to Tennessee. But I think if I'm the Buffalo Bills, I'm going all in on getting a guy like Derrick Henry. Mackie, where do you think he's going?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of bad with these running backs. There's a few good. What are some good spots for him?
I think of Buffalo, maybe of Kansas
City.
City.
Buffalo,
they have
yeah,
a Pacheco,
definitely.
but like, I just think him going to a big team. Like, I don't think he's really looking to go anywhere. Like, I assume they're gonna give. I don't know if he has no trade or what the deal is with what his deal is with Tennessee, but I don't know. It's obviously going to be a best return situation, but one of these teams has to jump out and make a play. I just think Buffalo, maybe a Green Bay, if Aaron Rodgers comes back, you could have a – because I think A.J. Dillon had kind of a step back year last year, but I think in Aaron Jones –
You'd rather Derrick Henry than A.J. Dillon or Aaron Jones.
Yeah, exactly. I'm saying Aaron Jones and Derrick Henry. That's a nice duo up there in Green Bay to get say, hey, we've just got Derrick Henry. Why don't you come back and run it back a year? I think there's a lot of shakeups going on, but I think the Buffalo Bills have to make a move here.
I think you're right about the Buffalo Bills, but what does that do for their offensive game plan? I mean, it's all through Allen and his feet and his arm, and you're taking a lot away from him there. And if you're not taking anything away from him, then you're kind of wasting Derrick Henry and his value. The Bills need something. It's clear. It's pretty obvious they need something to put them over the edge. They cannot get past those two powerhouses, I guess you could say, the Bengals and the Chiefs in the AFC. They need something to put them over the edge, and if changing your entire offensive scheme to get Derrick Henry and make him valuable on that team is the answer, then I guess you got to do it. You got to try something. I mean, you're running out of valuable years here with Josh Allen and the team that you have around it.
Another interesting landing spot would be, depending what happens with Joe Mixon and all these pending situations he has going on off the field. And could you imagine Derrick Henry in a Bengals uniform?
If you send Derrick Henry to Cincinnati, that team is that's the best team in the NFL, 100%.
They'd be loaded.
Because the way that they use their running, like they use Joe Mixon right now. I mean, I know they have a few running backs back there because Joe Mixon hasn't always been 100%, but
P-Rons have been filling in there he's done a great job there. But I'm saying if Mixon really can't get his act together off the field, I could see the Bengals moving on and saying, okay, we have a top running back in the league available. Here, we'll give you every draft pick. We're going for the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you give Joe Burrow Derrick Henry, and things will get messy.
That'd be crazy.
I'd love to see that.
I think this is the Buffalo Bills situation to lose. I feel like they should be the front runner to get him. I don't know, like I said, how the money works out, but I think maybe there's so many teams. There's not really so many teams that need a running back, but like when you're getting a Derrick Henry, there's so many teams that it's like ship your running back and 2 first-round picks, and it's a good move. But we'll see where he ends up going. Obviously, Tennessee's just unloading everything, so he's definitely not staying there, I don't think.
No, yeah, he's out of Tennessee. It's just a matter of time and who gives him the money and the deals. Well, no, he's still on contract, isn't he?
Yeah, he's still under contract. It's going to be just about the return that they get.
Seems like they want to, like they're willing to get rid of him though. So
yeah,
did you take Dub V?
No, I didn't. Are they playing right now?
Very curious to see where Derrick Henry ends up for this upcoming season, and lots more to look forward to in the NFL. Some big news out of Baltimore. The Ravens have placed a $32.41 million non-exclusive franchise tag on Lamar Jackson. He is now allowed to negotiate with other teams. Where do we see Lamar heading to? Lots of limbo in here. I've seen that teams are publicly coming out and saying that they don't want him. A tweet from J.J. Watt. Why are all these teams so publicly out on Lamar Jackson, MVP winner in his prime at the most important position in the entire NFL? What am I missing here? Curious to hear what you guys think about this. Go ahead.
Well, JJ, here's what you're missing here, and this was a problem with him throughout his career. But your best ability is availability. We've said that 1,000 times on this podcast. JJ Watt wasn't necessarily the most available player throughout his career, dealing with injuries, and that's no shot to him. Honestly, one of the best defensive players of our generation. Him, JJ Watt. You think of Aaron Donald, but in Lamar Jackson's case, I think the Ravens are really kind of have the upper hand here, and they have the situation where they're used the franchise tag to their advantage. And Lamar last year comes into this offseason wanting fully guaranteed money. I know he's won the MVP and all these other quarterbacks have gotten it, but none of them have had really kind of the injury problems. I know we've had some with the off-the-field issues in the Deshaun Watson case, but Lamar, I think he's a great quarterback, but I think the Ravens are kind of playing their hand the hard way, and I really think if they give him this money, it's not really going to put them in a good spot in the future. And as the NFL, we all know it's a business, and they're looking to the future. But I think we're going to see Lamar Jackson move on from Baltimore. I said that going into this offseason. I wouldn't be surprised to see him sit out this year and pull the Le'Veon Bell. I don't think it's the smartest move, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him do that and end up with another team next year.
That'll ruin his career if he sits out a year, especially a player like him. You can't sit out of the NFL for a year. Type of play style.
I don't think it would hurt him that bad because he's so injured.
He would not come back the same.
No, he wouldn't be the same, but he would at least be somewhat. He could say he had a year, not injured. You know what I mean? Like
the problem with him is that he wants a long contract. Like you are injury prone. You're a running quarterback. Like these were all the worries coming into your career about you. And even when you got good, these were the worries about you, the longevity of it. It's happening. We're seeing it firsthand. Nobody wants to give you an 8-year contract that's worth $400 million. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, because he knows he's not going to have knees by the end of that deal.
Exactly. So, I mean, he deserves a big deal. He's done enough. He deserves to get out of Baltimore. But you're just not going to see a team hand 8 years over to this guy. I think Daniel Jones is going to help him a lot. That deal was massive.
I do. Yeah,
that deal's going to help out
Jones,
everyone.
Him getting
like all quarterbacks. I think.
That agent is unbelievable. The fact that
I just keep
off,
thinking
he's
the going rate for a quarterback now is $40 million. For a guy like Daniel Jones is fucking crazy.
Insane. Makes no sense.
Granted, Daniel Jones had a good year, but what do you really do?
Is he gonna do it again?
Yeah,
it was evident that
exactly.
Yeah, it was evident that the coaching was a huge difference with the Giants this year, and I think I'm interested to see if he can keep the success rolling under Daboll with another year with Saquon. Obviously, Saquon gets the franchise tag, and Daniel Jones gets all that guaranteed money. I think it's pretty funny, but it's the world of quarterback and running back in the NFL. Did you see that? I saw a meme. It was like they were acting like Daniel Jones and Derrick Henry was sitting on a bench, and Saquon, they were sitting on a bench, and Saquon's sitting there all bloody, and it's like Daniel Jones explaining to Saquon Barkley why he's worth $40 million a year for 4 years, and Saquon Barkley's worth the franchise tag for 1 year.
That's the difference between a quarterback and a running back, though.
It's crazy.
Doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah. Not sure what's going to happen here with Lamar Jackson. Yeah, definitely think he needs to get out of Baltimore, but we'll see what happens coming up here soon. I think that's going to wrap up everything we got this week. Another good week in the books, episode 28 of this season. Nothing else from me. You guys got anything else to add?
All right, so I can do it. All right, so with March Madness right around the corner, we are happy to announce our second giveaway that we are going to be doing on the podcast. Stay tuned to our Instagram account for all the official rules and what you got to do to get entered. Kind of just the gist of it. It's going to go along with March Madness. You're going to submit your bracket to our group called Hit the Books on ESPN Tournament Challenge. And basically, you're going to have to like the post, tag a couple of friends, repost, and submit your bracket for the chance to win sports tickets to an event of your choice. But stay tuned for that. That posting for that is going to go live tomorrow, Thursday, March 9th, and will run up until brackets lock in on Thursday of next week. So definitely going to want to stay tuned for that over the next week as we get down to March Madness next week. But other than that, that is going to do it for me. We will see you guys next week to go over some of these conference championships and college hoops and dive into the official March Madness bracket, as we will have time to go over that next week as the bracket gets locked in on Sunday. Other than that, March is finally here. Can't wait to get off this and watch some hoops right now. Other than that, thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week.
And that's going to do it for us on this episode of Hit the Books. Thank you to everyone who tunes in each and every week. Without you, we wouldn't be able to do what we do here, so please like, share, and subscribe wherever you can. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for our plays each and every night in the NHL, NFL, MLB, NBA, college basketball, and college football. Thank you again, and see you next week.